Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really complex topic that shapes politics, borders, and just daily life in India: separatist movements. We're going to break down what they are, why they matter to you, and what the future could look like. Okay, just imagine for a second that your group chat absolutely implodes. Sides are taken, rumors are flying everywhere. It's total chaos. Now, scale that drama up from a few friends to an entire region of a country. That's kind of the level of disruption we're talking about with the separatist movement. So the official term for this is a separatist movement. It's basically a group trying to break away and do its own thing, form its own state. And here's the thing. These movements don't just appear out of nowhere. They grow from these really deep-seated frustrations, this feeling of being completely left out or misunderstood by the larger system. A good way to think about it is like this. It's not about fighting some external enemy. No. It's more like Captain America versus Iron Man, allies who are now fighting each other. That's the kind of internal turmoil these conflicts create, where the fight is between a nation's own people, and it causes these deep, really painful divisions. So, why should you care about this? While you're trying to juggle exams, a social life, and, what to binge watch next? Well, because national security isn't just about soldiers at the border. It's actually about the stability of your everyday life and your future. Let's break down how this can affect you directly. When conflicts drag on, your education can get seriously disrupted. Schools and colleges can just shut down for months, like they did in Kashmir back in 2019. Businesses get nervous and pull out, which means job opportunities just disappear. And reliable Wi-Fi? Yeah, you can forget about it. These aren't some distant political dramas. They have very real consequences for you. 433. Just let that number sink in. According to the data, that's how many times the internet was shut down in Kashmir in just over a decade. Can you imagine losing your connection to school, to your friends, to the entire world that often? It's a pretty stark reminder of how deeply these conflicts can mess with the very basics of modern life. Okay, so how on earth do we get to this point? To really understand the conflicts happening today, we've got to look back at where they started. And a lot of these roots go back decades. These movements are born from this really potent mix of things. You've got historical wounds that never really healed, like the trauma of the 1947 partition. Then there's economic disparity, where whole regions feel totally left behind. Add a dash of cultural alienation, and sometimes, as the source points out, you even have outside powers stirring the pot. The story really kicks off right around India's independence, with the trauma of partition and the, let's say, forceful integration of some states. Then you fast forward to the 80s, and the Khalistan movement explodes in Punjab. And since 1989, we've seen an armed insurgency in Jammu and Kashmir, which of course entered a totally new phase in 2019 when Article 370 was revoked. Across the country, each movement really has its own unique flavor. The source uses some pretty great analogies for this. The push for Khalistan, it's like a rock band that wants a solo career. Mostly dormant now, but still has diehard fans abroad. Kashmir is the ultimate it's complicated relationship status. The Northeast is like an anthology series with a whole bunch of different, complex plots. And the Maoists? Think rebel Slytherins trying to tear down the whole system. All right, so that's the history. But what does the battlefield look like right now, today? Well, the nature of these fights has changed a lot, especially with the internet and social media taking over. So if you look at the landscape today, it's not all one thing. Kashmir is still the biggest and most complex piece of the puzzle. Over in the Northeast, it's a mix of peace deals and simmering tensions. The Khalistan movement is pretty much gone online, fueled by groups abroad, while the Maoists are fading out. But check this out. Notice that new little slice of the pie? The fight has gone digital. And this right here is the huge shift of the 2020s. The battlefield is online now. I mean, forget pamphlets. A single viral video or a hashtag can spread an idea across the globe in minutes, which makes misinformation a massive problem. But, and this is important, the source also notes a powerful countertrend. For most young people in India, having a stable job is way more important than any of these ideas. So how do India's major political parties handle this? The source lays out two very different philosophies. On one hand, you have the BJP's zero-tolerance stance. The idea is one nation, one flag, no exceptions, which favors strong central laws and military action, like we saw with Article 370. On the other hand, there's the INC's historically more flexible attitude, which prefers a mix of force and political talks and supports giving regions more autonomy, like they did with peace talks in the Northeast. So, what's the path forward? I mean, how do you even begin to solve problems that are this deep, this complex, this emotional? It's not easy, but our source does outline a potential roadmap to peace. The proposed solution isn't just about military force. It's a much more holistic strategy. It starts by tackling the root causes, creating jobs, and giving local regions a real say in their own affairs. The whole goal shifts from control to connection, using smart diplomacy, empowering local leaders, and making sure the government is fair and transparent to rebuild that trust from the ground up. And look, you don't have to be a policymaker to be part of the solution here. It really starts at the grassroots level, with us. Just being an informed citizen who fact-checks and rejects fake news, that's a powerful first step. So is exploring other cultures, voting for leaders who build bridges, and supporting causes that work for unity. Every one of these actions really does add up. Which brings us to the big one, the final question. The source frames this whole thing as an ongoing story. Will India's future be one of unity and strength, or one of endless conflict? The thing is, that final chapter isn't written yet. It all depends on finding a balance where the country's incredible diversity can be a strength. The choice, ultimately, is whether the story ends on an unresolved cliffhanger or with a real resolution.